I switched to a new music app the other day and I was in a rush and I just wanted to like start the music before I started my drive. And I was like, oh, it's a new app. Oh, I can't find my playlist. Oh, and I started thinking about the mental fatigue of constantly learning new apps and new systems that are not that different from each other, but they're different enough where it's like, I can't find the thing that I want.
But yeah, that idea of that fatigue, that kind of learning fatigue, and also I'm sure you've talked about it lots with clients as why like decision making fatigue around like also like so for instance like how long did we spend before we started recording? I'm like, what's the best platforms that we should be like using
Gosh.
to record things and to like and
Yes.
just the choices, which is so great. And I know I'm not saying anything like novel or poignant here, but like just the idea that there is so much to decide, which interestingly, I feel a strong sense of suspicion that you're having similar conversations with people around like just as like sex therapists, like all that stuff seems so unrelated to sex, but like the general fatigue of life
Yes.
and everything at the pace that it's moving at. I don't know how many conversations a week do you have just about like how that interferes with people wanting to have sex?
I've gotten to the point where I have to struggle not to tell people, like, we have a cultural problem and we need to do less in order to want sex more. And so do less. And that just is really
Hmm.
genuinely hard in people's lives. That's a
Yeah.
really tough thing. Even when I look at mine, it's like, well, how am I going to do less? I don't know. All the things I'm doing feel kind of important to me. But yeah, I think
Hmm.
that when there's less happening that draws your thoughts all the time, when you're less fatigued from learning and making choices, life does feel sexier. You can just tune into yourself more and maybe feel that desire, even if it's just a little bit, and then you grow it.
Well, I also think about like stimulation, right? If you're like constantly being
Yeah.
stimulated in one
Yeah.
area, right? Like then the idea for some, not everybody,
Yeah.
but for some people of being stimulated maybe sexually, it's like, no,
Yeah.
like I'm so overstimulated by everything, right? Which is
Yeah.
just an interesting, and those things always feel
Yeah.
like they don't, I think in the moment, oftentimes those things feel like they don't have much in common. But I think of so many individual couple sessions, right, that I've had, like relational sessions that I've had in which it's like
Yeah.
actually slowing down makes a really big difference, like sensually, sexually, how I feel. And again, not
Yes.
certainly not a new idea, but just
Yeah.
it does seem that that pace that we're all moving at is not the best mix. It's always like everyone's like, why do
Yeah.
we have so much more sex on vacation?